Alright, so we're on to the next episode of Dragon Ball Super. This is episode 95, and this episode is called The Worst, the Most Evil, Frieza's Rampage. This episode was very good. Again, so far this Universal Survival arc has been killing it. When the news of Frieza first dropped, of Frieza returning in Dragon Ball Super, I was very, very skeptical. But they've almost completely won me over now. I really like the direction that the show is going. Very good shit. Now, one quick thing I do want to mention before we get into the review is the cocksuckers at Toei have reinstated the copyright for my episode 93 review of Dragon Ball Super. And I just wanted to point out that they've flagged it as audio-visual content, which means they're saying they own copyrights on my voice, since that's the only audio in the episode. So before we begin this fine review of a Toei animation property, I would like to say, fuck you, Toei. Alright, now, something that is super interesting really kicks off this episode. So, the fighters from Universe 9 kind of have, a little bit of a back and forth with Goku and Frieza. And Goku kind of resigns himself to the fact that, okay, we're going to have to actually do this before we're able to go to the Tournament of Power. Now, Frieza, gets real excited. He's like, oh, so you guys are from a really, brutish universe, as one of the assassins says. And Frieza, starts flying upward to start fighting him. And Goku is like, whoa, time out. Are you going to be okay to do this in your golden form? We do have the tournament coming right up. Now, this is great that they address this immediately. Now, I do want to say personally, if we're going to get down to it, this is fucking dumb, but I understand why they have to do it. So, Frieza basically explains that even though he was trapped in his little cocoon, what he describes as, if what felt like an eternity in hell, he says that he did exhaustive mental concentration, containing his composure, keeping his composure. And he says, as a result, his energy control skills have dramatically improved. Now, obviously, I'm not going to go too long on this, of, not making sense or whatever, but it is, they had to have Frieza be stronger for the Tournament of Power than he was during the Resurrection F arc. I got that. And, there's not a whole hell of a lot of reasons they could have come up with for Frieza being stronger, so I do understand it. But we're basically saying that Frieza got significantly stronger just by meditating while he was in hell. A little odd, I know, but, it's hard to properly assess how much stronger Frieza is, because we don't know what tricks Goku has for the Tournament of Power. Also, I guess it is important to note that Frieza at max power during the Resurrection F arc was stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Goku. So Golden Frieza during the Resurrection F arc was stronger than Super Saiyan Blue Goku. It's just Frieza had his stamina issues in his golden form. Now, what Frieza basically explains here is that issue is resolved, which is good that they address this as well, because many people were discussing how when Goku returned with Baba in the Buu Saga, he went Super Saiyan 3, which dramatically lowered the amount of time he was able to stay on Earth. And many people were wondering, will a similar thing happen with Frieza in his golden form? But Frieza explains through his mental concentration, meditation, whatever you want to call it, he was able to fix the weakness of Golden Frieza, which, again, it's I guess I could say it's stupid, the same way it's stupid that 17 is able to throw hands with Super Saiyan Blue Goku now, but it has to happen. Honestly, you really could go back in time and say it's just as stupid as Piccolo being killed by Nappa, but then he fuses with Nail and all of a sudden he's strong enough to fight second form Frieza. It really is on that level of, it's dumb, but, it kind of needs... I understand it. I'm okay with it. I don't have a problem with it. This isn't ridiculous. Trunks forming a spirit bomb out of nowhere, that is like awful. This is not awful. It's just, again, the word I'm using here is stupid, but it's needed because that's a real Goku. Frieza's stamina control issues were a real thing. So they had to address it before the tournament began, and that's what they did here, which was important. So we get a really good scene of Frieza flying around, bodying all of these Universe 9 guys. And I gotta say, let me just toss this in here. The animation and the look of this episode, start to finish, absolutely incredible. This was so good. Like, this is what we want to see. Shit like this. I really don't have complaints about this episode besides just, the Frieza getting stronger and fixing his weakness as Golden Frieza. A little iffy, I guess. But outside of that, everything else was spot on. Now, as Frieza's tearing through these guys, we see the little kind of dog warrior kind of pop up out of the water because he got hit by a death beam from Frieza at the end of last episode. And he has a little flashback to where he's being recruited by the Universe 9 Kaioshin and, the God of Destruction. And Sidra actually gives him a sphere of destruction, some of his energy. And he explains that this energy of destruction, if it, destroys something, they are completely disintegrated and do not even go to the afterlife. So this is really interesting. So this obviously is explaining what happened to present-day Zamasu. Beerus didn't kill him. He erased him from existence. So I always thought people were kind of misinterpreting the Beerus Hakai technique, but I mean, they still did, because as we see, you don't get hit by this energy and you're just instantly one-shotted. That's not how it works. You can block it, but if this, actually connects, you are just completely erased. So this is really cool that we do get more kind of backstory, more elaboration on this. Now, evidently, Sidra is able to give this sphere of destruction to this dog fighter, and he's actually able to control it, which is surprising, but then again, we don't know, how strong this guy actually is. Now, Goku heads up to Frieza and starts telling him, yo, chill, alright? We don't need to literally cut everyone's head off around here, Dragon Ball Super is not supposed to be rated R, Frieza. We need to chill out on that. And as Goku's kind of talking to Frieza, the Dog Warrior is kind of floating up to them, and Frieza is just so cool throughout this entire episode. He begins talking to the dog guy without even, taking his eyes off of Goku. And then he kind of explains, I understand that you better not miss with that. That obviously is the reason why your friend's eyes weren't full of despair despite being so overmatched. So the dog warrior gets pretty intimidated by this. Now he throws it at Frieza. Frieza easily just moves his head and avoids it. And the ball starts to come back around like a boomerang at Frieza. And Frieza just kind of easily death beams it and destroys it. At the same time, the dog in his other hand has another, energy destruction sphere, it looks like. And he's about to toss that Frieza. And he's like, aha, cocksucker! This is the real one. And before he can even let go of it, Frieza just death beams it right out of his hand. And right here, I was like, oh, shit. Frieza on top of things. And then the dude kind of does the little, it closes in on the dude's face. It does the little anime smirk. And then the real ball of destruction comes up out of the water and actually connects with Frieza, although he starts to block it. Now, Frieza is not able to deflect it, and it completely envelops him, and Frieza starts to scream, and it's oh shit, what's going on here? I actually wasn't sure how this was going to play out. I was thinking maybe Goku was going to somehow Kamehameha the sphere off of Frieza or something, but Frieza smirks, and this same theme that played when Frieza went Golden Frieza in the last episode, that epic theme, starts to play here, and you see Frieza kind of will the ball, he kind of crushes it and palms it into his hand, and then kind of gains control of it. And, he completely escapes from it, and he has the Sphere of Destruction just holding it in the palm of his hand. Now, the Dog Warrior is like, what the hell? He's blown away, and Frieza just instantly executes his ass. Goku's really surprised that Frieza was able to get out of that move, and he even mentions, you weren't able to move at all in Hell, but you've gotten way stronger. That's super impressive. And it's like, yeah, Goku, that sure is. When we consider he wasn't able to move and he got significantly stronger, I'm gonna say Frieza's a fucking beast. So, all that boasting he did back in the Resurrection F arc and then the Resurrection F movie where it's like, ha ha ha, I've never trained. Who knows how strong I'd get if I started training? Yeah, this asshole goes from, Frieza on Namek to Super Saiyan Blue level in a month of training, and then just by meditating in Hell, who knows what heights he's reached or how strong he really is. So yes, Goku, Frieza certainly is impressive. Now, Goku actually asks, what is that, pointing to the Sphere of Destruction that Frieza has in his hand now. And this is interesting. This is cool. This goes back to the fact that Frieza has knowledge of some of the workings of the universe. Remember, he gave that line to where my father told me not to fuck with the God of Destruction, Beerus and Majin Buu. So like Frieza, King Cold, they knew of shit like this. Now, this also does go to show exactly why Universe 7's mortal level is so low. Frieza knows all about this stuff, yet Shin, the Kaioshin of Universe 7, did not. That's very damning for him, honestly. Now, Frieza pretty much instantly theorizes that the energy is so pure, it's very likely to have come from a god. Now, the one thing I do think is pretty interesting with this is he does not specify a god of creation or a god of destruction. The Kaioshin or the Hakaishin. He just says from a god. Now, I'm not gonna, put 2 and 2 together and make 4 here out of this statement by then going, whoa, some of the Kaioshins of other universes are super strong too, but it's interesting that he doesn't specify specifically a god of destruction. I guess it's not needed, because obviously god of creation and god of destruction have different roles, but I just thought it was an interesting thing to point out because we never know with Dragon Ball Super these days. Now, Frieza even goes a step further and says that the assault was probably planned by either the God of Creation or God of Destruction. Now, again, you remember that the God of Creation, that's kind of like just another word for Kaioshin. So that's who Frieza is talking about here. Now, the reason I live for anime is Goku kind of crosses his arms and he's thinking, he's like, so they're here to assassinate either me or Frieza, huh? And it does a close-up on Frieza, and like you see his eye dart over looking at Goku, and it kind of does like a little, I always call them like the face flashes, like, the crazy anime moments where, crazy, and like Frieza just like gets that quick eye dart, and like it puts shadow on the rest of the screen except for his eye. Like, I love those moments so much, and I saw that and I was like, oh shit. We all know exactly what Frieza is about to do with that energy of destruction. And Goku, this is true Goku. Like, this is Goku-esque right here. Goku basically turns his back to Frieza and is shouting up towards those guys. And he's like, hey, come on, motherfuckers. Universe 7, we're not running and we're not going to hide. We'll settle this in the Tournament of Power. And then right there, Frieza takes the Sphere of Destruction and then just boom, puts that shit right on Goku, and Goku is trapped inside of this Destruction Sphere, which, if it works, will completely erase Goku. Now, the scene cuts over, and we see the Grand Priest with the 2 Zeno-samas and the bodyguards, and the Tournament of Power ring is finally constructed. Zeno-sama gives his approval, and it's interesting because he goes, oh, good job, here, take this. And he gives the Grand Priest what looks like a little candy. And I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. But the scene, I guess, was mainly here just to show 2 things. The ring is completely constructed, and we really are now on the final approach to the start of the Tournament of Power. Very exciting. So the scene cuts back to Frieza, and Frieza's laughing and boasting, and he says, ho, 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 you know, you knew that I wanted to kill you, yet you still turn your back to me. I see you're as soft as ever. And, like, Goku's struggling, and Frieza's like, okay, well, go ahead. You know, I was able to break out of that, so you will be able to too, right? And Goku tries, but he's not able to. Now, what is really strange about this is Goku does not transform. Now, I'm not going to start saying, like, oh, you know, Goku's not able to transform because he's inside the Sphere of Destruction, but, I mean, I almost have to go with that for now, because I don't see why Goku would not transform to try and break out, because I would imagine Goku is actually able to break out of this Sphere of Destruction. I don't really know what the purpose of him not transforming is, other than the fact that he would not be able to. Now, Frieza uses this time while Goku's trapped in the sphere, and he goes and starts torturing some of the these Universe 9 assassins. He says he would like to converse with the gods of the Universe 9. Now, it's really cool the way they do this, because, you know, the dude is like, okay, I'll tell you, and, like, Frieza just keeps shooting death beams, and he's like, you know what? It's been a while since I've done this, so, you know, maybe we can just not do it so quickly, huh? So the scene cuts over to Sidra and Ro, and we see Frieza pops up on the little crystal ball that they're, you know, looking in, waiting for the results of what's going on with the Universe 9 assassins. Now we see Frieza now has some sort of communication device in his hand, and he kind of tells the gods, like, so this attack was all your plan, huh? And, like, Sidra and Ro, they're kind of like, oh shit, like, you know, you better not be tattletelling on Zeno-sama. He's not even gonna believe. Like, it's funny. They go from, you'd better not tell, to, well, he wouldn't even believe you anyway. Like, you could see, like, you know, Sidra is freaked out, which is interesting because obviously Sidra, as a god of destruction, you know, is so powerful. But Frieza basically has him by the balls right here. And Frieza kind of chuckles and says, oh, no. I'm not trying to tell. I want to join your Universe 9. And I was like, oh shit, okay. So, here we go. We all heard what the leaks were, right? We all knew Frieza is going to try and leave Universe 7, but he was going to end up on Universe 4. Very interesting. But, you know, he's talking to Sidra right here, trying to be the Universe 9's team member. Now, Frieza says, you know, I've got Goku in the Sphere of Destruction over there. Without Son Goku, Universe 7 will not be able to win the Tournament of Power, which is most definitely true. And he says, the universe will be erased. I don't want to be collateral damage. Let me join y'all. If you pick me and resurrect me, I'll promise to perform well in the Tournament of Power. Now, this is great because we've seen that this Universe 9 Kaioshin is, like, he's an asshole. Like, we saw this in the Zen exhibition match. And, like, him and Sidra are like, whoa, wait a minute. Your universe is going to be erased. Like, even if you're a villain, surely you have something to protect. You know, you have to have some sort of, like, goals or motivations. Like, just because you're evil doesn't mean there's not something there. He even goes, the Universe 9 Kaioshin goes, a loved one, scenery, memories. And, yo, they did this episode so perfect because it cuts over to Frieza and, like, the screen kind of gets, like, a purple glow. And he just goes, I don't know what the fuck you are talking about. And I was like, what? How at this moment are they winning me over with Frieza completely? This is just incredible. They did this so good. This episode was better than I could have hoped, and the direction it's taken Dragon Ball Super, I feel so much better about the series as a whole after tonight's episode than I did before. I wasn't even that nervous. Like, as of right now, I don't have, like, this impending fear that they're gonna fuck up the ending like they did the Future Trunks arc. But after tonight, like, I just feel so much more confident that they are going to stick the landing and we're not going to have all this great setup only for them to fuck it up at the 11th hour. I don't think that's going to happen again but also at the same time, I'm really hoping, I'm praying that it's not going to happen again. Now, Sidra is like, well, okay, can we even have another warrior from a different universe join? Now, the Kaioshin, he picks up some book and he flips through it and he's like, well, there's no rule that says we can't. And he goes, we're the treacherous universe 9, but that guy is too much for us. He's a psychopath who doesn't care if his universe gets erased. He's more of a god of destruction than you are, Sidra. And it's like, oh, fuck. Like, there's just so much going on here. Like, now, like, they're saying Frieza is god of destruction level. Like, yeah, I guess that does make sense. And they start to argue, and you even see, it cuts back over to Frieza, and he's very shocked. And then he looks over his shoulder, and we see Beerus and Whis arriving at that moment. Frieza crushes the communication device, and Beerus kind of floats over to Goku, and he's like, what are you doing? And he just blows the sphere of destruction, and it gets sent away off Goku and explodes in the air. Now, again, Dragon Ball Super is so wacky, so this is another thing. I guess we can't really take any implications about Beerus' strength level compared to Sidra just by Beerus blowing away the sphere of destruction, because these are the kinds of things that people do take. Like, oh, well, Beerus blew away Sidra's attack in that episode, so Beerus is way stronger than Sidra. We don't know that, so let me just pump the brakes on that. But it is impressive. Like, again, we're seeing that Beerus is just going to continue to be stronger and stronger as the series deems it necessary. Like, there are no limits. There's no ceiling to Beerus even still. That Goku does not break out of this, is unable to, and Beerus just blows it away. Like, that's really something else. Now, it's weird because immediately after it's blown away, we see Goku's, like, still in that pose. He's exhausted. His clothes are ripped. He's damaged. And he had never transformed the whole time. So, you have to guess that he just was not able to transform in that sphere of destruction. The reason Frieza was able to break out of it is because he was already in his golden form. He didn't need to transform after being hit by it. But because Goku got hit in his base form, I guess he wasn't able to transform to break out of it. Now, Beerus instantly recognizes that it's the God of Destruction's energy. And Frieza goes, well, I got hit by it too. It wasn't such a big deal. And Beerus goes, oh, that's not what I'm talking about. And he teleports over to Frieza, and it gets shadows all over his face. And he's like, you're not fucking around with another universe, are you? Now, Whis mentions in that Frieza might have been trying to get intel from the other universes. And I love that all Frieza says to that is, perhaps. It's like, oh, Frieza, what? Yo! And Goku runs over and actually kind of starts to defend Frieza. Like, no, Beerus, don't Hakai him. Don't get rid of him. It's my fault because I forgot that he's the worst kind of scumbag there is. And like Beerus and Goku kind of have like one of their moments. And it's great because then it cuts back over to Frieza. And Frieza starts thinking and he says, I'm sure of it now. This tournament that risks erasure of all these universes is a perfect chance to manipulate even the gods. I will have the last laugh. You won't be doing as you please forever, Beerus. Okay, so I'm now convinced 100%, no one can convince me otherwise, that there is some master plan at work by Toyotaro or Toriyama. Now, the latest chapter of Dragon Ball Super is universally panned. The latest, chapter of the Dragon Ball Super manga has been universally panned by everyone I've seen. I haven't heard one person go, I really like what the Dragon Ball Super manga is doing right now. No one said that. No one. So, I don't know if literally every single idea is still coming from Toriyama, but I get the feeling, some of the top heads here, they have some idea for Frieza in the future that's really going to be kick-ass. I really do think that. So pretty much the last scene we get here is Goku and Frieza begin to have like a little sparring match. And what they're going to do is, it's just the first one to land a punch wins. Now, they start out with their backs turned, Goku and Frieza, to each other. And Whis, it's great because Beerus asks Whis, can we trust him? And Whis goes, probably not. And then Goku and Frieza start talking, and Goku says, if I win, you have to join our team and stop fucking around. And then Frieza says, all right, cool. If I win, you'll let me do exactly as I please. And then Frieza elaborates more on the training he did in Hell, and he says his mental concentration wasn't banishing evil intent and emptying, one's mind, like, what meditation would simply be or something. But you see a scene of him, like, shooting death beams through Goku. He's holding Goku by the neck. There's one where he's, piercing Goku's stomach, kind of like what Android 20 did to Yamcha. And he just said, I did nothing but focus my mind on endlessly killing you. And it's like, okay. So at the very least, Goku and Frieza are not going to be best buds after this, which is awesome. And Frieza's basically busting a nut at this point. He's like, yes, I can imagine killing you now. And this next scene, like the animation for this it was bust a nut worthy. That's the level of this animation. Goku and Frieza, they start kind of teleporting around each other, and then Goku goes Super Saiyan Blue, Frieza powers up all the way Golden form, they rush in, animation, beautiful, and they both kind of punch each other right in the face, like a pure clash. Full power, they each hit each other and knock each other out. Now, the reason this is important is because this is what I've been talking about this whole episode, how it's odd that Goku did not transform to escape from the Sphere of Destruction. Because what we see here is that Goku and Frieza are now on an equal level. Now, I guess, again, it's unclear exactly how much stronger Frieza got in Hell, because Frieza was stronger than Goku to begin with back in Resurrection F. But it looks like right now, Frieza is completely equal with Goku's Super Saiyan Blue form. And Goku tells him, while you've been in Hell, I've been fighting tons of tough guys from other universes, obviously Zamasu, and then Bergamo Count. And Goku says, the next time you kill bystanders, I ain't gonna forgive you. And I was like, yes, 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 yes. I love hearing this, Goku. And then Frieza says, well, I'm not taking orders from you. We're gonna settle this. Now, the very last thing we see before the screen cuts off is we see kind of a flash. Frieza's officially the 10th member of the Universe 7 tournament team. So, the leaks, I don't even want to say that they were fake. Like, the info presented in them was false. But the way things went, I am convinced that these so-called leaks came from someone high up who kind of sent this out there for everyone to kind of get, fucked up about this. Because the way the episode went, where Frieza was trying to get off the Universe 7 team, it was just too convenient. So I do kind of feel that, again, the cocksuckers at Toei, that's how I have to refer to Toei from now on, because apparently my voice is their copyrighted material. But anyway, I do think that they kind of were trying to play a fast one on everyone with those leaks. And, now we know Frieza is going to be the 10th member. We see a couple of shots of some various universes, including Jiren. We see Jiren standing, arms crossed, ready for the tournament, which is very, very exciting to see. And then, of course, the very last shot we see Beerus, Whis, Goku, and Final Form Frieza arrive at Capsule Corp, ready to head to the Tournament of Power. So that was this episode. It was a doozy. It was beautiful. It was good. This was a fantastic episode. The Tournament of Power, they at least go to the ring next week. Woo! Dragon Ball Super. I'm excited. The very last thing I should mention in the review is something that I thought was going to happen did end up happening. A while back, I theorized, and I did see a lot of other people were thinking the same thing, that eventually Majin Buu would be removed in the intro and outro, and here we have it. Majin Buu, the image of him sleeping on the cloud was removed, and now we see Angel Golden Frieza in the shot instead. So Golden Frieza has been added to the outro. I'm sure next week, now that Frieza's officially on the team, Frieza will be added to the intro as well, which is pretty cool.